If there was one feature that truly defined the Atari ST, it was its built-in MIDI ports. This out-of-the-box connectivity made it the undisputed favorite for music producers, and an absolute staple in recording studios worldwide. While other platforms had to rely on third-party expansion cards and proprietary interfaces, the ST delivered a rock-solid hardware-integrated standard right from day one. Naturally, game developers took notice. A select group of titles tapped directly into the ST's MIDI output to route their soundtracks to external hardware. However, this high-end audio experience was limited to only a handful of releases. Back in 1987, hearing these compositions required connecting a dedicated sound module, most notably the legendary Roland MT-32, which retailed for around $700, making it even more expensive than the Atari ST itself. And the difference in audio quality is nothing short of spectacular. With version 1.10, ASE integrates Roland MT-32 Emulation directly into the core, allowing you to experience that rich, authentic soundtrack straight out of the box, without having to deal with complex MIDI routing or external setup. But for the vast majority of the ST library, however, this was how games actually sounded. Unless, what if we didn't have to settle for that? Stick around, and I'll show you how we can breathe entirely new life into your favorite game soundtracks. Let's dive in. Before we dive into ASE's new audio capabilities, let's take a quick run-through of the other updates and improvements arriving in version 1.10. To start, I've revamped a large portion of the UI for a sleeker, more modern aesthetic. I worked on standardizing the design components, and if you browse through the source code, you'll notice that the style definitions are now modular, easier to navigate, and much more maintainable. Another highly requested addition is full monochrome mode emulation. In this mode, CRT filter effects are bypassed to deliver a crisp, crystal-clear image, perfect for GEM applications, desktop publishing, or productivity software that rely on the classic 640 by 400 high resolution. You'll immediately notice much smoother mouse movement. Though keep in mind, it does demand slightly more host CPU performance, as the refresh rate jumps up to the authentic 71 Hz when possible. Without question, the headline feature of this release is the introduction of full MIDI emulation, another addition that many of you have been asking for. When it comes to interfacing with the host operating system, there are no unexpected hurdles. Seasoned emulator users and Atari ST music veterans alike will find the configuration intuitive and completely familiar. Naturally, ASE goes a step further. In addition to standard MIDI host output, as of version 1.10, ASE embeds its own built-in Roland MT-32 synthesizer powered by the open-source Munt project. Setup is completely frictionless. Just point to your MT-32 ROMs in the preferences, launch your favorite Sierra Adventure or MIDI sequencer, and enjoy pristine synthesizer audio straight out of the box. If you've been following the channel for a while, you might have noticed that in several of my videos, I use reimagined versions of classic game tracks featuring upgraded instrumentation. I created those arrangements using various conversion utilities that converted sound chip emulator files, such as those for the Commodore 64 SID chip or the Atari ST Yamaha, directly into standard MIDI files that I could edit in modern music programs. One particular utility I used along the way really caught my attention during the ASE development: Make MIDI. Originally written by Andrew Gower back in early 1998, this tool converts PSG register dumps in the classic YM format directly into MIDI note events. The calculations needed to perform this conversion weren't too complex. Besides, Andrew gave me a starting point and the basic elements I needed to implement real-time conversion in ASE. With version 1.10, ASE introduces a real-time control panel that lets you remap individual Yamaha sound channels directly to specific Roland instruments. This opens up a whole new dimension for your classic game library, significantly enriching the original audio while keeping the core composition intact. Let me show you how this works with an example. Keep in mind that results will vary from game to game. Finding the right balance does take some trial and error, but once you get the hang of it, you quickly develop an intuition for which MT-32 instruments complement the character and envelope of the original PSG sound. It's also worth noting that remapping every single channel isn't always the best approach. Tracks built around aggressive arpeggios, fast noise bursts, or rapid waveform modulations rarely translate cleanly onto MT-32 instruments, often sounding cluttered or unnatural. Once you find a configuration that works, you can save your custom instrument mappings for any title in your library. Whenever you launch a game from your collection, a save icon will appear in the top right corner of the MT-32 toolbox to store your preset. If you want to learn more about setting up your library with cover art and synopsis metadata, be sure to check out my previous video. I've left the link down in the description below. Drop your custom instrument setups down in the comments. Let me know what combinations you've discovered for specific games that end up sounding incredible. I'd love to test them out on my end, and it's a fantastic way to share working presets with the rest of the community. Those are the main highlights, but that's certainly not all. Version 1.10 also packs a wide array of smaller improvements and bug fixes across the emulator. Be sure to check out the GitHub repository and visit the wiki for the full changelog and documentation. I've left the links down in the description below. I hope you liked the new features packed into this release. Definitely keep an eye out for future updates, both for ASE and right here on the channel. A huge thank you for all the incredible support and great comments, and thank you for sticking around until the end. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed the walkthrough. See you soon.